So, hello. I'm coming on to talk about something that I don't really know how to put into words. So, I just came back from the woods and I had this beautiful experience of breathing with the Mother Earth and just feeling her pulse and heartbeat moving with me as I hugged the tree and just allowed myself to cry and just allowed everything to flow. And I had this, I don't know how to, epiphany maybe, like an epiphany. And I just felt like I started to feel into this concept of separation, the concept of ego, and how we kind of have mistaken the ego for our humanity. So the ego is a concept that we have created that doesn't really exist. It's it's like this it's like this little ball that has separated itself from its source and is flying around and is very confused and it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to take care of itself. It feels unplugged from that which gives its life, which is just naturally nurturing and supporting it. So it's just flying around and it's feeling separated and alone and afraid and ashamed and all of that, and it's just flying around, and it can't really know itself and experience itself until it comes back, plugs back into the wholeness, and allows itself, surrenders to the wholeness, and allows itself to move with the natural state, the natural pace, the natural way of being. Just, I don't know if this, it's so hard to explain something that you just feel, for me at least, like something that you can experience and kind of you can't really put into a concept for the mind to understand. You have to experience it. So the ego is a concept that we make. It's a concept. It's it's this ball of defense mechanisms and ways to separate itself from its source. So it's just separating itself and separating itself and separating itself, and that becomes the ego, this made up illusion, this dream that we are dreaming because we are unplugged from the source. We are unplugged from truth, and that's when all the like craziness and fear and shame and all of that begins to like buzz and go round, and it's all a part of it. It's all still a part of source. So even that experience is a part of source because everything is source. But ego is something that is trying to separate itself from source because of feeling like it doesn't trust, or feeling wounded and hurt, and feeling like it needs to take care of itself. It knows better. It knows, and that is taking it away from source, which always loves and holds everything and accepts everything and allows everything to be experienced. And the ego wants to judge. It wants to separate itself by judgment and by fear. So it's kind of like if you think about it, the ego is like this concept made out of patriarchy. It's this concept that is based on fear and separation and judgment and shame. So, because if you close your eyes and you just breathe, and then you start looking into yourself, like, where is the ego, you know? Because you can say, I have a body, like, I'm in a body, I'm experiencing it, I am experiencing myself as human. I have desires and longings and thoughts. But the ego is that which identifies itself with all of that and separates itself. So if you feel into yourself, you can't really find the ego other than the concept of the ego. And I know, like, I have listened and heard this stuff before I actually have experienced them, and I have experienced them like many times, and I have also separated from them. So I have like gone to the ego and this illusion, and it's like this disconnection going from, because our soul is experiencing itself as human, and our ego is what is trying to judge and separate everything. So when I've heard these videos or heard people talk about this, I just couldn't grasp it. I couldn't really, it just felt like crazy shit people are saying because they are like delusional. And it's funny because you realize that the one that is delusional is the one that is judging that as delusional. So I really don't know if what I'm saying can make sense to someone who hasn't experienced it or can't really feel into it and are trying to understand it with the mind, just with logic, because it's not really just logical, it's just an experience of wholeness, of that the separation you perceived was just an illusion that you bought into for such a long time and identified with, that it became your reality. But that doesn't mean that that is reality, because reality is this moment right now. As I'm talking, this is reality right now. And what the ego is judging and perceiving and separating is not reality. So I I really wonder if this makes sense. So yeah, it's just this beautiful experience of wholeness, this beautiful experience of being so deeply loved and held and human, you know, with all the things that make you laugh and all the things that make you cry and all the things that make you emotional, all the beautiful experiences that are going on inside of you, this wholeness that no matter what, you are always whole, you are always enough, you are always held. And the ego is that which separates itself from that because of judgment and fear. So it's a concept, and that is what I feel that like yogis and gurus and indigenous people have been talking about and tried to get out to the world when they say that it's an illusion. Because it is an illusion. It's really just a concept, but it's not reality. It's not now. So, yeah, that's about as good as I can explain it right now. Yeah, and really what always have taken me, like allowed me to experience this sense of wholeness, has been opening my heart and my womb and staying in those places when I go through hard times, or when I judge, or when I try to separate myself, when I try to defend myself or feel like I have to protect and isolate, and then like just being in nature and connecting to my womb and my heart and my soul, that part of me which is always connected to source, which is always whole, which is always everything and nothing, that is what have allowed me to experience myself as this vast whole being. Not like I am experiencing myself right now as Julia, as a human, as a person, but I am also much more than that. I am also vast and big. So I am like just feeling very afraid to get really weird comments, and I'm just feeling this fear of separation, really, that people are going to judge me or misunderstand me. So it's like this program going on, this concept. Okay, so that's about what I had to say, what I had to share. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you experience yourself in your wholeness, in this connection, in this beautiful acceptance of everything, and witness yourself in love as love. So thank you so much.